Paula, volunteer for the USO, and despite what it looks like, this is not a tutorial on how to grow out your roots so everybody knows you're not a natural redhead. Today I'm making a tres leche cake, which is basically a kind of sponge cake with a bunch of milks in it. It's going to end up very soggy, so if you don't like that kind of cake, this might not be for you. But it's delicious, sugary, and especially for the summertime coming up, you have to keep it cold, so it's really refreshing on hot days. So we have all of our ingredients, which I got from the commissary. So we're going to have our sugar, 1 cup. We're going to have 5 eggs. We have a 1/3 cup of milk. We have 1 teaspoon vanilla extract. We have our 1 cup of flour. We have 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. We have 1 can of sweetened condensed milk. We have 1 can of evaporated milk. And we have heavy cream. We're going to be using 1 pint, aka Siri told me it was 2 cups. So that's what we're going to use for that. Now we're going to have these in 2 separate segments. We're going to do our cake portion first. We're going to pop that in the oven. Once it's done, we're going to cool it down about halfway. We don't want it to be too liquidy of a cake. After that comes out of the oven, we're going to go ahead and mix our wet ingredients, most of our wet ingredients together. Pour that in there, pop some holes in the cake so it soaks in nice and good. After that, we're going to let it cool a little bit more. We're going to top it with our whipped cream concoction and put it in the fridge. I would say probably like an hour. You want it to solidify, get all those flavors in there, and then you can cut it up and enjoy. So we're going to begin by separating our eggs. I like to just go ahead and use my hands. That's like the easiest way to do it. So now that we have our eggs separated into our yolks and our whites, we're going to add our 5 yolks to our big bowl, and we're going to add a 3/4 cup sugar to those yolks. Alright, so when we start beating this, we're going to make sure that it doubles in size and gets a light color. We're going to start beating our yolks. Alright, so after you have blended that up, you're going to have this light yellow color. It has doubled in size, so we're good there. We're going to go ahead and stir in our milk, our vanilla, flour, and baking powder. So we're going to go ahead and put in, let me cheat sheet down here, our milk. I'm going to go ahead and call that 1/3. Okay, so we're putting in our milk. Noms. Our vanilla is going to be 1 teaspoon. Vanilla Bay. That doesn't work too well. Okay. 1 cup of flour. And our baking powder is 1.5 teaspoons. Do 1. And we're going to eyeball that. That's a half. And then we're going to go ahead and mix it and kind of fold that in together. Try and get all the little chunks out of there. Okay, we're going to set this aside for a second and work with our egg whites. Alright, we're going to add a 1/4 cup of sugar, our egg whites into a small bowl. We're going to beat these, and we're going to be slowly adding the sugar into that so it gets into that nice little whip. We're going to have stiff peaks. Alright, so once we're done with our egg whites, we should be able to put it upside down, stiff, and trust it over our head. Okay. So, once we've whipped our peaks very stiff, we're going to go ahead and add it to our yolk mixture a little bit at a time. So we're going to go ahead and scoop about half of that into our yolk mixture. This is going to make our cake nice and fluffy and absorbent. So we're going to go ahead and fold that in. Once that's folded in, you can see it's gotten a lot thicker, but it's very fluffy and creamy. We're going to add the rest of our egg white mixture. So we're going to go ahead and take the rest of that egg white, just fold it into our yolks beforehand, which I should have mentioned, is to butter your pan, put a little flour in there, shake it around, After you have this batter all mixed up, we have this nice light yellow color. It's very fluffy, not too dense. This is the texture you're gonna want right there. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and pour this into our pan. I have already preheated my oven to 450 degrees Fahrenheit. So when you set your oven to 450 degrees Fahrenheit, you're gonna put the cake in for about 45 to 50 minutes. I know these Italian ovens can be kind of tricky, so it might be longer than that, might be shorter than that. I have the setting of the top and bottom burners, so that's what I'm gonna be using. Putting this into the middle of my oven to get a nice even cook. Okay, all good with your cake. That's gonna rise just like a sponge cake, and we're gonna go ahead and take it out in 45 minutes. Okay, now I have my helper Lila to help me mix the tres leches, the 3 milks. So go ahead, put our evaporated milk. Good job. Then we have our whipping cream.
No milk.
And this one's a little bit harder, our sweetened condensed, very thick. And once you get it all stirred up, it is going to be very liquidy, but that's exactly what we want to help absorb into the cake. Okay, now we've taken it out of the oven. We've had about 10-15 minutes to let it sit and cool. So this is what we have. And now we're gonna go ahead and poke holes all throughout the cake. This is gonna allow our mixture to go ahead and saturate in here.
Yeah, I'm going to help that mommy too.
There you go. Poke some more holes over that side. There you go.
It's delicious.
Now we're gonna pour our mixture in. Make sure it gets in all the crevices. Okay, it looks like a lot now, and it's going to sit on the top of there. We're gonna go ahead and put it in the fridge. Once it's in the fridge and it starts to cool, all of this will sop up into the cake. All right, now we're gonna put this in the fridge for about an hour. And when we take it off, well, while it's in there, we're gonna go ahead and make our whipped topping. So once this is done and it's all seeped through, you can take that whipped topping and go ahead and spread it.
Yeah. So we're going white.
So now we're gonna go ahead and make our whipped topping. We're gonna take our heavy cream.
Yeah.
We have 1/4 cup of confectioner's sugar. And then we have our imitation vanilla. We're just gonna put about 1/2 teaspoon in there just to give it some extra flavor.
Yeah. Powder milk.
Cup it there. Okay, we got our heavy cream.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna start whipping this and slowly adding the confectioner's sugar. So now we have a nice thick cream here. You're gonna be beating it for a while. It's probably about 2 or 3 minutes. If it's not getting firm, don't give up hope, just keep beating it. So now I'm just gonna add a little bit of my vanilla. I'm just gonna eyeball it. That's about 1/2 teaspoon. And then we're just going to whip that in there just enough to mix it. There we go. So now we have some nice firm peaks. So now that we have our whipped topping, we go ahead and take our cake out of the fridge. Nice and cool. It's had some time to sit down and soak up all that milk. And now all we're going to do is take our whipped topping and just spread that out here. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little cinnamon on top. Definitely suggest putting this in the fridge about 1 to 2 hours before you eat it. If you're going to make this for some kind of special occasion, probably to make it the day before, that way everything's settled. It's firm enough to scoop out without being kind of a mushy mess. This will last 2 to 3 days in the fridge, and then you're good to go. Hope you guys liked my tres leche cake, and I hope to see you guys real soon in person to make it at the USO. Thanks for watching!